Right.
And I think it's something you could really sing and mean these lyrics. The only regret I had, man, is that I loved a lot of what I did on there. You know, the song sounds good, but I wish, in hindsight, that I had done some other things. You know, I could have made it better. You know, it's one of those kind of things where it's almost like you're never satisfied.
Right.
Yeah, that one, there was a lot of possibilities in that. I could have made that better.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Well, you had me fooled, man, because I'll tell you, that's my favorite track on the album. I mean, it was a good album, but that track alone it's inspiring to hear it. You know, again, the possibilities. And then your creativity and your chord arrangements, George, just phenomenal.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was, you know, that's my Quincy Jones stuff in there.
Right, man, speaking of Quincy Jones.
I was just hanging out with Quincy.
Really?
Yeah, we were in Montreal together down in Harry's bar hanging out. You know, after he came to my show, and so, you know, actually I did a show there with Shaka, and so he came to that and he introduced us, and then about 3-4 days later, we went out and did some other dates, and I came back and did my own show. He was still there, and he came up and introduced me on my show, and then after we were finished, we went to Harry's bar, hanging out, talking, and talking about old times, and, you know, of course, the thing with Michael was very recent, you know, so that was obviously a topic of conversation, but
yeah, I bet.
But he's doing well, and, you know, still a great cat, man.
Oh, man. Like I said, I was going to bring up the Quincy Jones Back on the Block CD.
Oh, yeah.
Man, this is where Spud Too Tight kind of gave birth to my leads and my runs. It's the track you did on One Man Woman.
Oh.
Remember that one? Oh, my God, man. You went into that G minor run, George, on the break. Oh. And here's the thing. You were pitch bending a piano sound. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that's unheard of for most people.
Oh, I'd love to do that, man. I do that nowadays. I don't remember that, but the only one I remember is that the thing I did with Take 6 on there. But that, yeah, I have to go back and check that out now.
Oh, man, I know the track. That's on track 11. Okay. You go on the CD.
Oh, you got it, huh?
Oh, man, I got all your stuff, man. But, you know, like I said, the pitch bend is like, you know, for most people, it's like, man, why would you pitch bend a piano sound? And, you know, getting into the George Duke world, it's like, man, why not? You know what I mean?
You know, man, let me tell you the truth. The reason I actually fell in love with playing the synthesizers is because I could bend a note. The one thing about playing piano, I said, man, you can't really bend a note in the real world. I mean, it's like you do slide your fingers around everything to try to make believe you're bending a note.
Right.
But to say what I wanted to say in my heart, I really needed to be able to do that. You know, make that cry. That
little half step jump. Even doing that half step.
Yes, sir. And so I took it, and I said, finally, when a piano was available to play electronically, I said, oh, it's on now.
Man, I know, man. I noticed that when you first started playing the synthesizers, the first ones you were on was, I think, the ARP 2600 and the Mini Moog.
Yeah, I wasn't really good on the ARP 2600. I played Mini Moog and actually an ARP Odyssey, a little small one.
Right.
2600 was a little advanced for me.
Didn't Frank Zappa introduce you to the ARP?
Sure did.
Really?
Sure did. Yeah, he actually bought a Mini Moog and just put it on my keyboards and just said maybe you'll bump it and the sound will come out. But he put a 2600 there at first, and I look at all these wires and these knobs and these.
Right.
I felt like I was a scientist or something.
Right, like a switchboard operator, man. That thing was like a big refrigerator wall. You just plug and play, but it had the nice filters that you can play in real time with, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like when the Mini Moog came out.
I started reading the manual, and I was like, oh, forget it. So then he got me a Mini Moog, and I said, okay, well, this looks like it's a little cool. But once I found out by accident that you could bend a note, it was over.
Man, I'm already knowing. I swear, man, the technique for pitch bending, I've implemented that, and I got that from you. Because, like I said, it just adds a whole feel. I do it a lot on, like, a lot of lead synths. I do a lot of lead synths, solo signs, and, like you said, having that little pitch bend, you know, kind of has almost like a vibro on the vocal a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just creates a whole feel to the whole note, you know, and it just gives it a little gloss and a little spice.
Put some life in the note.
Yeah, totally. Now, what synths are you running these days? What are you playing on now?
Well, it's what I do live is a little different than what I use in the studio. So,
right.
and as a matter of fact, I'm kind of in between right now, I've still been using Motiv ES8s or XS8s, depending on what I'm doing, from Yamaha. I've been using those as my main controllers, and then I have a lot of virtual instruments and stuff in a computer on my laptop. And I have, of course, I have an acoustic piano and this strap-on instrument, the AX7, that I wear around my neck when I get ready to get funky. So, you know, those are my basic instruments live. But in the studio, I'm in here with the Giga Studio and Logic, you know, and all that kind of stuff. Whatever I can have, you know, with a host of virtual instruments and a lot of analog instruments at the same time. Including a real Rhodes, several different Rhodes, Wurlitzers, and clavinets, and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow, the original?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. So you're just miking that in then with the Fender Rhodes and Wurlitzer, then, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice, nice. Speaking of which, man, I know that you're a Logic Pro user, and so am I.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's like I came into the Logic world 4 years ago, crossing over from Pro Tools and Cubase 5.0 and Cubase SX, and, you know, no discredit to Cubase or Pro Tools, you know, because I like them all, and I really think it's depending on the user, but, you know, being a player, I didn't have the control, you know, of my production and my sounds and just my overall mix until I crossed over to Logic. You know, just for the samples of, like, you know, your kick snares, your claps. As far as my drum program, man, it was just really hard trying to get all those sounds in to the computer because I'm not an MTC user. I do everything and I channel all my sounds through my keyboards. You know, so crossing over to that Logic Pro, I felt that, you know, I was going to be compatible with the industry because with Logic I can open up Pro Tools and run the hardware on Logic, you know, and be able to have that file sharing between the two parties was really helpful.
Yeah, you know, I've been with Logic a long time. I mean, before they were Logic, when they
were E-Magic,
you know, so I go way back with the guys from Germany, you know, when it was introduced to me, and it's been a great program for a long time. It just continues to grow, and I'm matter of fact, already ordered my Logic 9.
Oh, did you?
Yes, sir. Just to get that going, and I can't wait for everything to go, you know, 64-bit. I think that's going to make a big difference.
Oh man, can you imagine that? What kind of sound card do you think is going to be the whole 64-bit though?
Say it again?
What kind of sound cards or interface is going to be able to, you know, record 64-bit?
Well, you know, Contact is 64-bit now. You know, I'm using it on a laptop.
Really?
I use it on a laptop with this past weekend I did a gig in Norfolk, Virginia, and it works great, man. I don't get any hang-ups, nothing. I mean, it's really efficient.
Is it FireWire or USB?
We're using FireWire, I believe.
400, was it 800 port on that? Or?
Oh, man, I don't remember. I think I'm not sure. You have to ask my tech.
Sure.
I'm just a piano player. You know what, man? Tell you the truth, I used to really be into all of it. I mean, programming. I used to program all my own sounds because, you know, you couldn't save anything anyway.
Right.
So I just, you know, programming became very important. You know, now I find something I kind of like, and then I tweak it a little bit and save it.
Sure.
That's as far as I go. You know, I have somebody else to set all that stuff up, and he's much more brilliant than me in terms of that, so I let him get into that.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, like for your pre's, what pre's are you using with your synths? I mean, what do you run them? So are you just running them line in or to your interfaces, or do you run those through a pre? Or?
Well, it's you know, live. It's all everything is backline. You know, I have a little Mackie console. It's about a little 8-channel. Depends on what they have available.
Sure.
I use a little Mackie console, which we separate going to the house system as opposed to what comes to me on stage, because I don't want to have to control what they hear out front.
Sure.
You know, so we have a split there between I have a top keyboard and a bottom keyboard, and then of course the actual acoustic piano, my microphones, and the thing I wear around my neck, and that all goes separately out to the house. Okay. And then I have my own mix on stage and do what I want to do. That's really about it. We use a Hammerfall interface.
Hammerfall. Who's that by? Is that SSL or?
No, I don't know. It's Hammerfall. It's all
that's their brand. Okay.
Something that my tech Andrew turned me on to. He's really a brilliant cat, man. The way he set my system up now. Because I used to have some issues, you know. People could see me on stage throwing stuff around because I'd be pissed off.
Right.
You know. But now it's really become very stable, and I found a host of samples and and virtual instruments I can use that are just incredible.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there.
The only difference now, compared to what we used